So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. I have been thinking quite a bit about karma the last 24 hours because as I teach on Sundays at the YMCA, this Tai Chi Chair form. And I was driving home. I decided to come home through via the kind of the back roads. It's very beautiful. It's very windy. And I thought I was going to have a nice, peaceful drive home. And I came across a very serious motorcycle accident. The two guys sprawled all over the floor, over the road, and someone directed. This was before the ambulance and the police had arrived. So it must have only kind of happened within minutes. And I just kept thinking the whole way home, these guys probably just left. They were young. They probably just left home. They probably thought they're going to go out on a nice bike ride. And literally their whole life changed in just that short a space of time. And I guess also to the car that they had the accident with. So there's always this thing of your life can change in an instant, and we constantly take it for granted. We're just going to walk around and we'll go to the shops and we'll come home, we'll go fly here, there, and we'll come back and life will continue as usual. But for these two, it's not going to. One of them's very badly injured. So yeah, and it was really, it was a little bit of a, it was a little bit of a shock to see. But anyway, so tonight I want to dedicate for these two young men and then also for their families and then also all the other people that were involved. Yeah, it was pretty shocking to see. Anyway, so that was me, but it was just a bit of a reminder of a precious human rebirth and how quickly it can change from a life of kind of excitement and fun to one of great suffering. So anyway, so let's just appreciate the life we have and keep purifying. All right. So there is no negativity that can't be purified. So I love that. I find that very affirming. It's very positive. So from Lama Yeshe, this one. There is no negativity that can't be purified. And when I used to, I taught in the prisons a little bit in 2006, so long ago. And this would be the one practice that they were all completely transfixed, these guys that would come, because it kind of, it gave them some relief from the suffering they were experiencing, that there is no negativity that can't be purified. So just settle yourself into your meditation, align the body, lengthen the spine, focus your attention on your breath. Just be aware of any potential distractions in your environment. Just check in with your mind this evening. Try not to judge what's there. And then bringing to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, your strangers, the ones you don't like. Remembering they're all equal, they don't want to suffer. They want to be happy, and they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we're doing this practice this evening for all these people of our life. And you think of also your own personal life. There may be something that you've seen or heard of or have a friend or whatever, just dedicate for them. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind, and we can also change it by creating positivity instead. So we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, And so, having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha to forgive us necessarily. We are purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So we imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of our head. So, and you can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has a beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. And he has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification, and we start with the body. So you imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Petita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Petita Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajrama me mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anurakta meboa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajrama me mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech, and we're all talking to people a million miles an hour, and they don't really want to listen to you. And they have to because you've trapped them, and lying and talking badly about all these people behind their backs and getting other people to sort of kind of all get involved and agree with you. All of this is purified by the powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech, including yourself, because you hear what you say. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine it's as instantaneous as walking into a dark room and clicking on the light switch. The light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and then in that instant, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness and anger and depression and bitterness and grudges and resentment and jealousy, all of this instantly dispelled. Not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Petita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mebi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Petita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasiti mebi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe, vajrasattva samayam manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita, jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe vajrasattva samayam manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe vajrasattva samayam manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar and it fills you completely. So the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body. Then the nectar flows up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech. And then the light comes and just blasts all of the delusions. And in this way, you're eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, situkai meboa, sipokai meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mata vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anurakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. Now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve, and this is the fourth and the final step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. Without making any kind of decision, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming is like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So remember, Rinpoche used to talk about everything existing on the tip of the wishes, the aspiration. So think very carefully about something you'd like to refrain from doing, some habit. You might not even be aware of it yourself. Maybe someone's mentioned it to you or something. But it might not be a big harm that you're doing. It might be just a little. But even so, maybe just see if you can refrain from it. And then think, Vajrasattva was delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And then our little tiny meditation on emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while, and we can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So we're doing our chanting the names of Manjushri, the swift return of precious lamas of Rinpoche. Completely free from every kind of substrate, established firmly on the path of space, a splendid wish-fulfilling jewel in hand, the best of all that's precious, omnipresent. great wish-fulfilling tree, most plentiful, the greatest of all great auspicious vases, fulfilling the aims of living beings, a doer, an ally most beloved to all creatures, aware of good and bad, aware of times, the omnipresent knower of the pledges, upholding pledges, conscious of occasions, awake to varied aptitudes in beings, with expertise in threefold liberation. All right, everybody, let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lamas of Rinpoche, and for all of our own individual teachers to have long and happy, healthy lives. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see some of you tomorrow morning for our meditation. Okay.